Well, I was, you talked about the impact that your visual impairment, the thing that really had a negative impact on you was the thought of not being able to hunt again.
Mm-hmm.
So could you kind of finish that story for us?
The story is just now ending 30 years later. My brother came home to muzzleload hunt, and I have been blessed. My brother has been an angel in my life. And after muzzleloading hunting, there's really only one way to empty a muzzleloader. You shoot it. And he took all the rifles. My uncles, my grandfather, my dad, they all had. Took them in my parents' backyard, and he was going to unload them. And I walked out just to see what he was doing. He said, "Come here, Dougie." And he handed me the rifle. And it felt good. And I put it up to my shoulder, and he said, "There's a 4-inch by 10-inch post down there." And I put it up again and went, pow. And he came behind me. He goes, "No, hold it up there." I said, "Cock it." And so I cocked it and set the trigger and put it up. And he goes, left, left, up, up, right, now. And I touched it off, and boom, and a ball of smoke comes out of there. And when the smoke cleared, well, you guessed it, when the smoke cleared, we missed. But we missed close. We missed so close that instead of taking the guns back in, he reloaded. That second shot, I heard it hit that little post and just roll it right up the hill. And he went down, he set it up again. He goes, "One more time, Dougie, one more time." And after that third shot, there were 2 holes, 4 inches from the top, dead center. And right then, we knew we could do it. All we needed was a deer to cooperate and come and stand broadside at 40 yards. Jeffy didn't get back. And I told him then, I said, "Jeffy, I don't care if it's a bucktail or Bambi. When I kill it, I'm going to get its head mounted and hang it very proudly on my wall." He didn't get back, and he didn't get back. It took my sister getting married to a young fella down in North Carolina. His father and his brother-in-law to invite me down to a hunt in North Carolina on the 6th day of a 6-day hunt right after Thanksgiving. I had lots to be thankful for. Up an old gum tree, 25 feet, and a deer did come and stand broadside at 47 yards. And we popped it. And when I got down, it wasn't the big buck I had hoped it would be. It was a little 75-pound doe. But her head hangs very proudly on the base of our steps over here. That is my first. And that could have been the last. But for me, it was just a new beginning. It was a rebirth. And I had to do more. I had to go out again. And people began to hear the story of the blind guy getting the deer. And then all of a sudden they had the perfect place. They had the perfect stand. They knew where the deer were. They had big bucks they could get, not little does. something happened on the way to the season. When it came time to practice, nowhere. Nobody. Worse, when it came time to hunt, they still weren't there. And I thought, maybe it was because I came to Pennsylvania, where in North Carolina you could kill 5 deer on your tag. 2 or 3 of them could be bucks and 2 or 3 of them could be does. But here in Pennsylvania, you could only shoot 1 deer on a tag at that time. And you could only get 1 tag. I thought, maybe if I'd ask somebody to take me squirrel hunting. I love squirrel hunting. But try as I might, I couldn't get anybody to take me seriously, or at least I couldn't get anybody to take me. And then one day I'm sitting at the lion's den having a brew. And the girl that I was seeing at that time, I guess I'd been seeing her for a while. She said, "Doug, I'll take you squirrel hunting." Now this was not a hunter. This was a tie-dyed, guitar-slinging, feather-wearing, Grateful Dead groupie out of Philadelphia. She knew nothing about hunting. She knew nothing about squirrels. She didn't even know they made noise. But there was one thing I knew about her. If she said she was going to take me squirrel hunting, she would do what it took to take me squirrel hunting.
That she did.
If she said something, yeah. The one thing I knew about Debbie is if she said something, she would follow through. And so it was back to the backyard, my parents' backyard, the same backyard that my brother had shown me that it was possible for a blind man to hunt. That my father took us and he showed us through adaptation and adjustment different ways that we could shoot until we finally found one that was comfortable. And after about 250 rounds, we finally found it that we could keep 20 shots in a little 2-inch circle. A 2-inch circle is about the size of a squirrel head. And we knew we could do it. So my father ran her through the hunter safety course. He was a hunter safety instructor for 30 years. And we were ready. All we needed was opening morning to come. And when it came, it was miserable. It was pouring down rain. That proverbial cow on a flat rock where it comes down and bounces back up. And I said, I've been blessed. My brother was there. Debbie said, go with him. I said, no. I need to go with you. And the rain started to slacken until it became a little drizzle, and then a little fine mist, and then almost to nothing where you could stand out in it and not get wet. And I said, so what do you think? Well, if this is what you guys do for fun, then let's go get it over with. It wasn't exactly music to my ears, but it was kind of what I wanted to hear anyway. And back we went, back to the old oak flat behind my parents' house. And we got back part way, and there jumped 2 squirrels in the road. And she goes, oh, they're kissing. And then they moved, and they jumped back up into the woods. And she didn't want to shoot them, but she kept going. We got in, we sat up. I had my little 22 across my lap, sitting on my little stool. She was set up right behind me. And I was caressing my gun, so I missed it. And she said, "There's one at 10 o'clock. I said, "What?" She goes, "There's a squirrel at 10 o'clock. And just that quick, the gun jumped into place. I moved it around. We moved into 10 o'clock. I cocked the gun to the side so she could see up the scope. She said, "Up, up, left, left, now." Boom. Thud. And I knew what that thud meant. I had just taken my first squirrel in 10 years. And normally I would have left it lay, because where there's one squirrel, there's usually more than one. But this one, I had to have it. I had to feel it and touch it. And yeah, I even had to taste it. I had to get that squirrel. She took me over and I said, "Where is it?" She goes, "It's right by your right foot." I started bending over for it. And she goes, "Oh, George." Now, I had killed between 250 and 300 squirrels in my lifetime. None of them had a name. But if she wanted to call it George, and when I picked it up and looked at it and felt it, it was a George. It was a big old George. I took it, and I felt every little piece of it. His little paws, his little nose and his whiskers, his little bitty ears. And I fluffed it down, and I puffed up his tail, and I rubbed it up against my face. I said, "Here, hold this." And I handed it to her. And I reached in my pocket into a little velvet bag that I had been carrying with me, looking for the perfect moment to give it to her. And I pulled out a diamond ring, and I turned around and started to stick it on her finger. And she said, "Would you?" And she blew out into all kinds of blubbering, crying woman stuff. And there I am in the middle of the woods thinking, is she crying because I just asked her to marry me? Or is she crying because she's holding that dead squirrel? I think the answer was yes. On both counts, I think the answer was yes. And that put the end of our hunting for that morning, for the next couple hours, hour and a half. I wanted to get back out after it, but if she wanted to cry and hug and kiss and do those kind of things, I guess we could do that too. So we did that for a little bit. And then I saw another one, I heard another one. She saw it out too far. I said, "Well, we're going to go get it." We put on a stalk. She called that one Martha. I walked out of the woods that day with 2 squirrels, George and Martha, and a fiance. It's by far the most successful hunt I have ever had. By far the most successful hunt. But it wasn't the only one. The more I hunted, the more people did show up. I have a good friend, a doctor friend, who likes the big game hunt. I have a school teacher who likes the small game hunt. And with them and my family, I have taken 2 elk, a mule deer, 27 whitetail, 7 turkeys, a dove, a grouse, a fox, a raccoon, a porcupine, 76 squirrels, and 340 woodchucks. But then who's counting? Me. I'm counting, because every animal that I put on my family's table, every animal that I've harvested, is just another victory over my blindness. It is one of those things that if we have the opportunity, then yes, we might fail. But if you give us the opportunity to fail, then we might succeed. And that, in a little respect, is really all we can ask for.
That's great.
Does that answer the hunting question?
Yes, it does. That's quite the story, and I like hearing that that's your most successful hunt.